my god, this is gonna be so Blooper madness, so Blooper madness that I have ever saw in my entire life.
There's just too many bloopers that I'm gonna count. This is trying to irritate me. Just say it. Just say it. Just say it.
Why did you just say that longer than before?
Because this time we meet 60 bloopers.
You know what? If I'm not gonna read any take, you might know what's gonna happen next.
But I'm gonna read all those bloopers if it's the last time, if I ever think I do. So, here we go.
First of all, we made a color blooper. Secondly, we made a background color blooper. Third, we made a font blooper. Fourth of all, you made a language blooper. Fifth of all,
Part of the logo is a glitchy blooper.
sixth of all, we have another Greek letter. Seventh of all,
It says Sky Extinguisher Bottle Studios.
eighth of all, we have a different letter. Ninth of all, we made a style blooper. 10th of all,
We have another different YouTuber. 11th of all, we have another different logo. 12th of all, D is yellow again. 13th of all, we have another Armenian letter. 14th of all, we have another Ukrainian letter. 15th of all, we have another Spanish letter. 16th of all, the studio's text is backwards. 17th of all, Troll faces back once again. 18th of all, Sin in Jumpstart form is here. 19th of all, the spray bottle is overflated. 20th of all, we made another random blooper. 21st of all, we have another Arabic letter. 22nd of all, we have another Paper Puppets Take 2 character. 23rd of all, a Jumpstart character and a cup of chocolate is at the studio. 24th of all, we have another Amharic letter, but instead, it has been added. 25th of all, we have another different symbol. 26th of all, we have another Hebrew letter. 27th of all, and Elmer's glue is here again. 28th of all, we have a Chinese letter, but instead, it's actually drawn. 29th of all, another Hebrew letter has been added. 30th of all, another Greek letter has been added. 31st of all,
a different letter has been added.
32nd of all, someone else is at the studio. In fact, the spray bottle is still here. 33rd of all, we have an image here. 34th of all, we have 2 Greek letters. One of them is still floating, and the other is overflated. 35th of all, we have 2 different letters. One of them is still floating, and the other is overflated. 36th of all, this time we have 2 different YouTubers. One of them is still floating, and the other is overflated. 37th of all, we have 2 logos this time. One of them is still floating, and the other is overflated. 38th of all, this time we have 2 Armenian letters. One of them is still floating, and the other is overflated. 39th of all, we have 2 Ukrainian letters. One of them is still floating, and the other is overflated. 40th of all, this time we have 2 Spanish letters. One of them is still floating, and the other is overflated. 41st of all, this time we have 2 Arabic letters. One of them is still floating, and the other is overflated. 42nd of all, this time we have 2 Paper Puppets Take 2 characters. One of them is still floating, and the other is overflated. 43rd of all, we have 2 Amharic letters. One of them is still floating, and the other is overflated. 44th of all, we have 2 different symbols. One of them is still floating, and the other is overflated. 45th of all, we have 2 Hebrew letters. One of them is still floating, and the other is overflated. 46th of all, this time we have 2 Chinese letters. One of them is still floating, and the other is overflated. 47th of all, we meet another software blooper. 48th of all, we have another text that says something. 49th of all, we have 2 Vietnamese letters. One of them has been added, One of them is still floating, and the other is overflated. 50th of all, the bees are back! 51st of all, we have 2 Korean letters. One of them has been added, one of them is still floating, and the other is overflated. 52nd of all, we have 3 fan-made Greek letters. One of them has been added, one of them is still floating, and the other is overflated. 53rd of all, we have another different Greek letter in the production text. 54th of all, we have 3 fan-made Russian letters. One of them is still floating, one of them has been added, and the other is overflated. 56th of all, we made another effect blooper. 57th of all, we have another Japanese letter. 58th of all, we have 3 Japanese letters. One of them has been added, one of them is still floating, and the other is overflated. 59th of all, one of the little mascots is missing. And 60th of all, we made a crazy blooper for the first time ever. This time we made 60 bloopers at once. 33 plus 27 equals 60 bloopers. Didn't you hear me? For the last time, this time we made 60 bloopers at once! Also, I have to tell you one more thing. The one thing is that D is dead. This makes 61 bloopers at once! Oh no! There are too many glitches just like in movie 1. We're about to scream, puke, and get trolled and get corrupted! You know what? Forget this blooper. Sounds like somebody needs a little help. Don't worry, I'll help. You know, D will revive in the next 10 takes. Oh, thanks, Mr. D. Anyways, let's move on to take 12.